Shoot. Fire away.
What's the plan with Miles this week? How are you going to get him back in? Is it you want to see how he looks? How are you going to approach that?
So he's got to go through practice and see how he looks. Again, we want to make sure that he's healthy and ready to go. That's just going to be an ongoing thing throughout the week. I'll have more answers for you on Friday with that, but just want to get him out there and see how he looks pretty much tomorrow and the next day on Friday.
That he could play this week if you see what you want.
Yeah, I definitely think. Yeah, if he looks healthy, he's one of our better players. He's definitely going to go if he looks healthy. So again, though, I just want to see how it looks this week, and then, like I said, I'll have more answers for you Friday.
I assume you have to figure out a way to incorporate, if Miles does play, incorporate him with guys like Jordan Howard and Boston Scott have played pretty well the last 3 weeks. I mean, will that be tough for you?
I think when you have some guys that have been running the ball well, it's that's a good problem to have, and it speaks to the depth that we have here in the running back room in particular. And so it was a great job by Howie and his staff of getting the players in here and having depth, because we know it's a long season. It's a 17-game season. You're going to have some bumps and bruises throughout the way. And so, it's important that when guys, the guys that step in for the starters are ready to go. And I think that Jordan and Boston and Kenny have done a good job stepping in, filling that role, and with Miles' absence. And so that, again, I just think that speaks to the depth of the running back room.
Why are the Saints so effective at stopping the run?
They're really stout up front. They're really good in that front seven, and I'm not taking anything away from that back seven the back end either, because they're good there too. So they just got a lot of good pieces there. And I've always had a lot of respect for Dennis Allen defenses. He was when I was in the AFC West, he was in the AFC West a lot of those years as well. And so his scheme and his ability to coach the technique to the guys and how the guys play for him has always really stood out to me. I just have a lot of respect for him as a coach. And so, anytime you get that combination of good players, good coach, the defense is going to look good. And so that's a stout front seven. And they're physical, but we're physical too. And so we're going to have to match their physicality. They're going to have to match our physicality.
A lot of times there are collaborative decisions in the organization. Playing Miles Sanders, is that purely coaching, or is that something we collaborate with management?
Like everything. Everything is collaborative. And we talk through everything. We're going to talk through this with the. Yeah, we're going to talk through. Howie and I are going to talk through it. The trainer's going to talk through it with us. We're going to get all the information available to us to make a best decision, what's best for Miles and what's best for the team.
Coaches have different philosophies as far as whether a player's injury should affect their role when they come back. If a player should lose his job, basically, is that something you've thought about? What's your philosophy on that?
Again, I know how good of a player that Miles Sanders is, and looking forward to getting him back in there and getting him carries. And just a really good job by Jordan and Boston and Kenny, like I said, of filling in. I think that changes. That's different based off of different situations. If Miles is healthy and ready to go, he's our starter. But that doesn't mean that every situation equals the same thing, right? Because every situation, you have to be able to adjust and you have to be able to do things, and every situation does have different circumstances and different thought processes behind it.
Saints came in last year around, I guess, later in the season, but did a good job running the ball against them. How much do you look at that tape and see if there's something you can use from last year as a template?
Yeah, I think you guys would be very surprised at how much we look at and what we look at and all the different avenues. Again, we're looking for every angle we can have in every different thing. So we're going to look at last year's Eagles versus Saints game. We're going to look at the 2019 Eagles versus we have looked at the 2019 Eagles versus Indy game versus the Colts game. We looked at the 2020 Chargers versus Saints game. So we're doing our homework and looking at all different avenues, and that doesn't mean just the games that Shane coached in or I coached in or the Eagles have played in. Right, we'll look at every different thing. How do they play? How do they play different types of wide receivers? How do they play different types of quarterbacks? So we have just this library. Our video department does such a great job of having so much information for us, and it's our job. Right, there's a ton of information, but it's our job to sort through it all and find the things that are going to benefit us. So definitely looked at that game and as well as a bunch of different things, and I'm not opposed to looking at Broncos versus Chargers tape, or Broncos versus Chiefs tape way back when, or Chargers versus Raiders tape with Dennis Allen. So again, we'll look at everything and leave no stone unturned.
How do you figure out how defenses are going to play Jalen specifically?
Yeah, you try to look at similar styles of quarterbacks, like I was saying. You try to look at you look at the group as a whole, see what they're doing to different situations like that. But you always want to find different styles of the similar styles of quarterbacks to you and similar styles of offense to you. So that's always on our radar and things that we're looking at and thinking through of that.
When you watch the Saints defense, how important is Malcolm Jenkins to what they do?
Yeah, he's an aggressive player, and I know what a good leader he was here. But you still seeing him playing at a high level. Like I said, he sticks out on the tape of being aggressive. He's an aggressive player that we'll have to know where he is in the run game and in the pass game.
How well the offensive line has been performing. How important was it, and how good is Lane Johnson performing since he came back?
Yeah, Lane had a phenomenal game, and he's played really well these last since he's been back. And so that game that he had the other day, he just was really physical in that game and was able to open up some lanes where there was a couple cases where they were bringing an extra guy off the edge, and Lane was able to account for two guys in one play, which is pretty amazing, because of the movement that he was getting on the linebacker. I know you guys probably saw that, where he got up to the second level and threw the guy to the ground and gave the first down. I just love the energy that Lane plays with. He's a great player, and everybody can feed off that energy that he brings. And so it's great to have him out there, and he's been playing really good football.
Is there a message or theme for this week?
We talked about today, since the guys were off on Monday, we really did go back today and talk through the game a little bit. We just rehashed the game. There wasn't as many clips as what we normally would rehash. But again, it's the same message. How are we growing today? Today is going to be a day that we're going to be walk through. We're later in the season. We have a late bye. And I want to take care of these guys' bodies and make sure they're ready to be 100% fresh on Sunday. And so we'll be walk through today. So the reason I'm even bringing that up is because the message is like, okay, well, we're not going to be out there running around and moving around, but we need to make sure we're getting better in a sense of, let's make sure we're mentally ready to go here and having what we call, hey, you go to a walkthrough, you're full speed to the snap and walkthrough. That means your mind's working. You break the huddle in the same aspect. Your mind's working full speed. Boom, the snap happens, and now we go to a walkthrough. So it's just a reminder of how important walkthroughs are to us and how important they are to us being ready mentally, and that, hey, your bodies are going to be ready physically because we're taking this break.
Let's talk about Jeff Stellan, specifically as your run game coordinator. What's his kind of fingerprint on that?
Yeah, again, he just has a lot of different experiences here, right? And he's had a lot of different experience with Jalen, right? And so as far as last year, Stout just does a really good job, and the rest of the staff, Jason Michael and Shane and Brian Johnson and Kevin Patullo and Jamal Singleton, and I don't want to leave out anybody, and Aaron Moorhead. It's a collaborative work. Coach Stout kind of leads up that run game division, but we talk through everything. But he goes through and just kind of sees the different ideas and different things like that. It's good to have him because he's a really good mind that's had a lot of success running the football, whether it's at the college level or at the pro level, and they've had a lot of success here. The Eagles have a lot of success here running the football. So Stout is a great game planner. He's a great position coach. So again, when you have guys like that on your staff to lean on, that's a huge advantage.
Jalen has talked about, hey, it's going to take time for us. We're building something here. When you're coming off a win like you did last week, and then going into this week, how much has it helped not only his confidence but the team's confidence overall? After you guys have that rough stretch now.
Sure, I think confidence is a great thing, but it can't be. You can't get overconfident. You can't rely only on confidence. You got to rely on your preparation of what you're doing and getting better every single day to put yourself in a position. Like I've said this all the time. Like, we have to do our work today to put ourselves in a position to win. and that also goes in the sense of, yeah, we did what we did last week, but we have to do our job today to put ourselves in position to be confident on Sunday. And so confidence is built, in my opinion, yes, from what you've done in the past, but really how you prepare in the week and know your opponent and have your body ready for your opponent.
Nick, how would you guys kind of squash the penalty problem, especially on offense?
What we really talk a lot about, I think this isn't 100% because we've always talked about penalties and we talk about hidden yardage a lot and how we need to win that battle of hidden yardage. So we've really emphasized it the entire year, even though maybe at the beginning of the year it'd be like, these guys don't talk about penalties at all, right? I imagine that's probably what the sentiment was. But we've been emphasizing it all year, and I think when you emphasize something like penalties or protecting the football like our offense does, or taking away the football or whatever it is, you might not, it's the same as everything. You might not see the fruits of your labor right away, but eventually, right, it will stick out and it will show. And so we've when you're dead last in penalties like we took even more drastic steps to make sure that we were emphasizing even more. But it was something that's always been at the forefront. And again, it's just not always going to see the results right away. And that's been something that throughout the process, like the work that we put in weeks 1 through 6 or whenever we were when we were bad in penalties, that's starting to show. And the work that we put in from 6 to 10, right? And so it's just the same, put your head down and work and grind over and over and over again to put yourself in a position to improve.
What were those drastic steps?
It was just more like we still had our process of what we did with talking about penalties, but then we when you had a penalty in practice, instead of talking through it with the coaches in the coaches meeting in the morning and having the coaches, we showed it in the team meeting all together, so everybody kind of saw that. Maybe sometimes you would on a Monday meeting you would be like, okay, I'm going to talk about this penalty, this penalty, and this penalty. Well, we showed all those ones instead, just a little bit more of what we were already doing, I guess to say. What's up, Les?
Jalen Hurts last year in New Orleans was his first start. I know you weren't here, but you've seen the tape. How do you think he's different as a quarterback today than?
Les, what I really saw, I've continued to see him make strides there. Again, I don't know what he was asked to do all the time at the line of scrimmage. I know I've talked to Jalen about it, but I don't know exactly what he was asked to do at the line of scrimmage. But what you see here now is him making great checks at the line of scrimmage to get us in and out of plays. So that's a development of a quarterback that you want to see because he's your coach on the field. And then you see, I think I mentioned this the other day, that play that he had to Goddard where he stepped up in the pocket. I think even 3 weeks, forget New Orleans last year, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, he's going to run that football. And he might get 10, and he might shake the guy off and get 15, and he might get 20. But he got 24 when he stepped in the pocket, and I've seen him with that play in the pocket go up with one hand. Well, I saw him push up with 2 hands and find the ball because he doesn't know where those hands are coming. And that's the ball security thing that we've continued to emphasize, that he's continued to emphasize of getting better at. So there's a lot of examples, Les, of how he's different and since I've been here. And it's a tribute to Jalen first and foremost, that he's the type of player that wants to get better, that wants to be great, that wants to be the best, and he's willing to do anything he can to accomplish that. And then his coaches as well. Brian Johnson's a great coach. Shane does a good job with them as well in those quarterback meetings.
We got to go.
Thanks, guys.